Whitman Department of Public Works Building Committee. We are recording. And I can't get my email open for some reason. So do we get the minutes from last meeting, right?
Yes.
I can't pull up an agenda. I don't know why I can't pull up my email.
I did print a copy here.
I apologize.
Nope.
Oh. Thank you. So we have the minutes from the November 17th meeting. Would like to make a motion? We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
That's all right.
I got myself a picture.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes? All right. All approved?
Aye.
Aye.
It's kind of funny, doesn't it?
Do we have invoices on there? Or
No invoice.
status or construct? Well, we got a bunch from Josh.
Here's the Amazon
Okay.
that I got from the DPW today. If you want to just maybe make a motion, I mean, these are all for the building, right? This is all technology related for the new building. And I think there's 8 of them here. And I looked back on the community requisitions, I don't show that those had been submitted. So I would think that we'd want to vote to pay these invoices. You might want to give the invoice number and then just the total amount. Or do you want me to read them, or
I can do it.
there's 8?
For time, I'm going to give the last
Anybody else need a copy?
4 digits instead of reading off all 12 numbers. Yeah, so these are all Amazon Business for various IT items and things that have been provided by the town that were not part of the project, or are not part of the project. Not part of the contract, but for the project.
Yeah, you can have one.
So it's invoice, I'll just do the last 4. 7XWQ, it's $292.24. Invoice 4MDY, $81.21. 7F7G, $807.25.
Did you miss this one? You signed?
That's the same one.
Okay.
446M, $915.96. KX9T, $179. 3X4J, $121.94. 4TY9, $237.55. And KXX1, $315.25.
Yep. I'll second that.
We have a motion second. Is there any discussion? Rick?
So, Bruce, can you confirm that all of these were related to the building?
I can confirm that, yeah. These are all but one of these items were ordered and purchased by Josh Josh McNeely, IT director for the building. And there was, just to mix up, they would have been submitted a lot sooner, but he thought that these invoices came directly to us, which they did not, so we received them today. I think the grand total was 22,915.13.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Okay. Do we have a construction update, or do we need a construction update? I apologize. I don't have an agenda, so I don't know. I don't know if we had it on the agenda or if we're just going to do evaluations. Sorry. I was all ready, and for some reason I can't. My email won't. I have internet and all that, but I can't pull up.
Give the chairman the script, please.
I know, I was going to bring my back up. It would have frozen.
All right, remaining punch list items. There we go. Number 3. So
There's no punch list. There was, I guess the paving issue is kind of a punch list item. So we, as if everybody wasn't aware, there was a issue with some trenching patches that were done on Essex Street and a little puddle at the main entrance, right kind of at the transition between the driveway and Essex Street. We met with the engineer about a couple weeks ago and came up with a fix for it. There was it was determined that the patching that was done in the street wasn't to the engineer's standards nor the town's, and so they agreed to fix those. And there was a little bit of a bust in the grading plan where it was a little bit flat at the street area, so there wasn't enough pitch really. So there was a fix proposed by the engineer and kind of agreed to, but it was discussed in the field how to make it work, and there was a change order presented for $7,000. PCO 34 was ended up being $7,059.48 to fix the entrance in the gutter line area. They extended a trench down the gutter line to the catch basin closest to the main entry. So once we have some rain, we'll make sure that there's no puddle there anymore and that it's flowing the way it's supposed to. We do have the commissioning agent's due out here this week on Thursday, and he's going to be going through the heating system and just making sure everything's working as it should. I know Bruce has had the control company and the HVAC contractor out to make some adjustments. So once we have that inspection by the commissioning agent, we'll send that report out and let everybody know if there's any issues. But I haven't heard anything else from you, Bruce. Have you been having any issues with anything?
It's been better.
It's been better. It's just that we still don't have control of this heating system, or there's no
Yeah,
alarm system.
Yeah, the alarm is separate from that, but yeah,
Right,
we
so-
still don't have control from our desktops to be able to control the system. Todd does, and I don't know if that's just something we can do with our IT guys just to switch that over. As far as the heating system, there was definitely some issues. The baseboards weren't kicking on, and they're supposed to be the main heater of some of the areas in there. And we think we have that squared away now. So it's been better. I mean,
Okay. And just as far as commissioning, we kind of had to wait for this, for like a cold weather spell like this to test out everything. So, fortunately, we still have a requisition out there that's in draft form. I'll know by Thursday afternoon if there's any red flags, and I can, I'll send you guys an email or an update, either directly from the commission agent or from us. But we're close. There's there was a module for the fire alarm system that is in the town's hands now. Josh has that, and the agreement that was made was that your monitoring company, Flight Alarm, and once the 1 year period's up, right around that 11-12 month period, we'll switch over and have that programmed by the current monitoring company. It's a Yankee.
so we did have an issue. I'm sure Dave got the same calls. We did have an issue over the weekend where we were receiving alarms for the building. And multiples, 2:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock at night. So
Communication.
comm failures, yeah. So there is a rep coming out, ESCS, to come out and take a look. I would assume that would be not an extra cost for us.
No, but ESCS did the access control and security.
All right, hold on.
Well, can we, the heat, the commission's coming out and that's, we'll go through all that. If Todd has access, obviously the town has access, so just
Right.
without knowing the details, it sounds like that's at least in our control, I would assume. The alarm, in that it's not connected, or is this a contract item or a town item that we're still doing IT or we're still adding? I'd like to understand that. Like I said, we have a pay rec. I certainly don't want to do 100% payment. My questions are all the project documents and, is Page supplied all their payrolls and all their, all that type of stuff.
Yep. I would say
But the alarm, I'd like to understand, or if anyone understands what, is a town or contract?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's my question. I think we need to know that answer before we do anything with any type of payments.
Yep, I would agree with that.
I have a question. Bruce,
Yes.
have they solved the issue I read where an ACO officer couldn't get into she used the password to get into the gate at night and she couldn't get in?
So that was that's been solved. That was just operator error. It's a combination lock.
Oh, okay.
And she was just not.
Low tech.
She just wasn't lining up the numbers in the correct spot on the.
Oh, the old
combination.
days, yeah. Okay.
Because we open it every morning.
Yeah.
Works.
So I think the alarm needs to be figured out.
What do you call it? User error.
Yeah,
Operator error,
just
yeah.
forward that on to me, Bruce, so I can track that if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
So that, what I was reading to you was there was two different issues that I sent up to IT. One of them was getting the alarm system up and running
Yeah.
and looking to see if we can configure the alarm system so you can gain access to the building with your access card without going to a keypad and punching in the code after that. And so that's what we're looking. So there's a proposal they would have to reprogram. So I would looking to see how much that would cost, because that would be an additional cost, but I don't think it would be much because it's just a programming thing. And that was in the same email as the alarms we were getting over the weekend, whereas that one of them was like something about, I forwarded it to you. Some was like smoke, and so they confirmed with the fire department that they didn't get any alarms. So the guy's coming out this week. There's a rep coming out this week to look into why we're getting those false alarms.
So our fire alarm system isn't connected?
It's connected. Everything's connected, but I don't know. It's the first I'm hearing about it. So
I thought it was just security, like someone breaking in, that we still had to do some tweaks.
Yeah, if it was the fire alarm system, the fire department would have got it.
And those, did somebody clear the fire alarm panel, or?
Yeah, I believe so.
No, probably the monitoring company, Yankee, right?
That's concerning if we have a building that's not connected.
Right.
The fire alarm goes off and the fire department didn't know about it. That's something that needs to be addressed immediately.
Right, yeah. That's a hazard. Safety. Bruce, to get in and out of the building, you use what we have for town hall?
Correct.
Right. So, I mean, does it automatically unlock and lock like town hall does?
So it locks automatically after hours.
Yeah.
So any of our employees that need to get there after hours can use just the
Stick
key
a-
access
swipe
card,
card, yeah.
and it will log in who it was, what time it was,
Yeah.
and all that. But the way it is, it's not set up yet. But the way it's supposedly going to be set up is if you let yourself in the building, then you have to find a keypad. So there's only like 3 keypads in the building, but there's many doors to come in. So you would have to let yourself only in after hours, only in a door that has a keypad, so you can punch in another 4-number code to disable the actual motion.
Why
alarms.
wouldn't? Oh, okay.
But they can program it so if you let yourself in, say the 5 door of the building where there is no keypad, it automatically silences, so you don't have to punch in a 4-number code, and you can come in any door that is suitable.
Makes sense.
So I was going to bring, I don't know if this is time, but I was going to bring that up to see how the I don't know if this is a Board of Commissioners thing, building committees thing, to see how you feel about doing that. Because my opinion is it's a good idea. Josh's opinion is he doesn't like that idea because he feels that if somebody were to lose their access card, then somebody, like say
found
they
it.
dropped it somewhere, somebody could come down, know the code to the gate, let themselves in, and then let themselves in the building, and they wouldn't have to have a code for the alarm. And then
Interesting thing. Yeah, interesting.
I mean, I think it's an operational thing that
Yeah.
I mean, is my commissions deal with. My question on that, how does it get rearmed? So the person comes in, swipes, gets a truck, go to work.
right.
How
Then
does the alarm system get rearmed?
And that's something I would need to find out, but I think that then on your way out, you might have to hit, like we
What we
used
do
to
here,
hit
yeah.
the away button.
Yeah.
Like now you're leaving and it's time,
But you're back at the keypad.
but you're back at the keypad. But that's on the way out, at least.
Right, but
Yeah. Or I don't know. We'll find that out when we get the proposal.
I don't think it's a. You see what? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's see what. I mean, I myself think it's an operational thing that we could probably handle at the public works end with the commissioners, or
Okay.
you know, what I mean, how you guys want to run the building. You know,
Right.
that would be my biggest question. That that swipe doesn't deactivate the whole system, and then you're
Right.
exposed. So
You can kind of see how Josh would like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
When he said that, I said duly noted. I understand your concerns. I also think that's a real perfect storm of things like somebody. Oh,
So you would have to know how to get in the gate to begin with,
right.
the super secret combination of
Yeah. And know that goes to that building.
It's 1, 2, 3.
And the person who lost it would have to not tell us that they lost it. And they said, well, we've
Oh.
had that a lot at different buildings, but maybe other buildings that people don't use the card. Like at our building, they're using the card almost all day long. So if somebody loses their card, they're gonna know it pretty quickly because they're using it to get in the building during the
The
day.
card can be lost. You could.
Wait,
I'm
yeah,
not going to get into particulars, but I can agree with a pin pad, and like I said, I'd be curious how it would be re-engaged, and if you're going to re-engage it by going back all the way to the keypad, well, you might as well just come in through the keypad. Okay, I got to come in that door and walk to the other end of the building to get the truck out or get my tools.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that. Yes, we're responding to an emergency, but we're not the fire department. We're
Right.
blazing out of the door with.
So to circle back to the other alarm, so I found the correct email, Scott. It was with Minutemen, and it was a comm error on the fire system, specifically conference room 104, smoke. That can contact the Minutemen account rep Nick Webster, and he will coordinate with service updated Bruce Wayne for response from Minutemen.
Who's Minutemen?
They're the monitoring company. They did the
For the town? Are they a town?
Minuteman did the fire alarm system for the contractor. They're not a town
Oh,
normal town company.
But they
But
got.
they're servicing it through the first year.
Oh, okay.
Going to flight. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
right.
So that's why I'm just wondering how they got the notification. Okay. But it's still, if that's something that should have been notified, if fire alarm panel, then that I would think should have gone to the fire department.
Yeah, I mean, they have certain responsibilities. The monitoring company. I mean, not only they install it, but they have a responsibility to notify the fire department. So, I don't know if they have remote access that they can get in and review stuff, or if they didn't send a tech out.
No,
No.
supposedly this week they are going to.
Yeah.
And they were able to clear the fire panel. Usually you can't.
Yeah, I know.
It's usually the fire department or,
Licensed
physically.
electrician's supposed to do it. Yeah.
So, as part of the commissioning, is that a test that has been conducted already, like a fire alarm to
The
dispatch?
commissioning
fire?
didn't do anything with the fire alarm. They just did HVAC, some lighting.
Well,
So, who would coordinate a fire department test? Like, set an alarm off purposefully to see.
That was done by the electrical contractor and the fire department.
So it's already been-
And it's already been done. They needed to do that before they got the certificate of
Yeah,
occupancy.
building inspector.
Yeah, before they got substantial completion certificate.
Scott, can you just follow up?
Yeah.
Whether it's Minutemen or Whomever.
I'll follow up with Paige and ask him to reach out.
yeah.
Is there any schedule to like retest every so often, like every 3 months?
I don't know what the NFPA requirement is. There might be a yearly test. I mean, I guess, you know,
I don't even think it's yearly.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't
think
know.
The fire department performs tests around the town buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what, you know, for a public building, what the requirements are. Yeah, maybe it's something like that, that it falls now onto the,
It's just finding out that it doesn't work is,
It may just be a faulty detector and or it got dirty or something,
Hey.
and they'll,
that side I'm more concerned that, you know, there was a fire alarm panel type alarm
yeah.
and the fire department wasn't notified and didn't respond. Yeah, that's a problem.
I'll get some more information on it and ask that question why it didn't go to the fire department.
What caused it? Yeah, okay, we got a bad sensor or, you know, something this or that. Yeah, that happens. You know,
so what did the alarm just go to you and get it?
It goes to multiple people. It goes to me, it goes to Dave, I think it goes to Todd.
But it didn't go to the fire.
Yeah. So I'll talk to the chief tomorrow about it too.
yeah, let's do some research and Scott, if you can follow up with Paige and see what. Just shoot an email out to the committee.
Yep. Will do. I mean, unless there's any other specific questions about anything, I can't really think of anything else to bring up. I mean, we have this change order here that was approved. We'll get this updated into the budget. Doesn't really move the needle that much. And then we'll have probably that requisition, Tony will be looking to get that processed fairly soon, I'm sure. So we'll, if anything comes up between this and commissioning, if everything's good with that, I would say we can release that. I could be comfortable with releasing that.
So for that process would be for Bruce to identify if the puddle returns after Wednesday's rain, send out an email, and then I'll know for me to whether or not to sign off on the rec.
Mhm.
That's the only thing the other thing though, was still kind of an outstanding issue is the bid docs, closeout documents still has red triangles in there.
Yep. Yeah. I am waiting for Greg to tell me he's good from Tony, and I'll make sure we'll make sure he's good and he has everything he needs before we sign that, as part of that final requisition.
Yeah.
But it's really, most of that stuff's in Greg's court, just to go through and check the boxes and compile that package and.
But there's no way for me to know why that red triangle's there.
Right.
Right.
And part of some of those for me as well. I've been working with them for the last 3 weeks or so on it, and they thought that they were going to have everything done before Thanksgiving. So obviously it's a little beyond that, but I'm pretty confident they're pretty close based on my conversations with them. So. That will, once they get that whole package compiled and done, then you'll get a certificate from Greg for final completion certificate.
The question I had, Scott, though, has Paige provided everything?
Yeah, no,
And, kind of the Rick's. So this pay rec is 100%. There's no money left.
Yep.
Right.
So obviously we got some technical things. If the commissioning and the alarm, is it okay? Here's, I think it's 87,000. 70,000, and then we hold another 10. I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't want to hold up, Page's money for work they've done. But if there's some paper still left, certified, all that stuff, certified payrolls.
Yep.
I just don't.
I've gone.
It's not fair to hold up 80, 90 grand if there's 5-10 grand worth of paperwork. So, if we square away technical things, release most of it and hold a little bit.
Well, that's why I thought Page would have resubmitted a requisition to hold out the money for the payment. I thought for sure that'd be their next move, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it's all with Greg, that's what I don't know either. Like, if they've submitted it all and Greg's still compiling it or checking it, we need to confirm.
Tony will push that hard if Greg's holding him up. He's gonna let me know. He's gonna let us all know.
Yeah, so maybe it's they adjust it. I know there's an item for closeout on their contract, so just keep that where it is and adjust the pay rec. We can pay him whatever, 70 grand, whatever it is.
Yeah, I kind of, when we were discussing the pavement issue, I kind of held back just to let that go through it, and then I wasn't sure how quick that was going to happen, but they took care of it last weekend. Now I just want to make sure it's all set, and I'm sure Tony doesn't even know because it's all been Monday. It happened Saturday, so. But yeah, hopefully it rains. Hopefully it warms up and we get some rain. We can see how it is.
It's got to warm up, so regardless, you could flood it.
Yeah,
Wednesday's supposed to be a little warmer.
yeah, we'll do it either way. Temps above freezing.
Now the streets all taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah, they did that all Saturday.
Yeah.
Long day.
Right. Oh, why? You don't think so, or is it
No. They were there for like 12 plus hours.
really?
Yeah.
Detail and everything.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to do it right the first time.
Yep.
That's why I was surprised we were paying another $7 grand, to tell you the truth. But it seemed to be the general consensus that it was our liability, so.
We had some culpability on the driveway. All right. So evaluations. So Scott had sent out his evaluation. So there's, I don't know how many filed submitters there are in the general. Me personally, I looked at the filed submitters. I have no issues with them. I didn't deal with any of them. I don't really remember any great, this or that or that or this. I guess if there's specific filed submitters, we can talk, but I was going to suggest maybe if everyone's good with Scott's scores, we just move to the general, or...
So is Pompeo not part of this list?
No.
Not a filed sub.
They're not a filed submitter. That's where it gets a little
Sorry.
That's okay.
wonky. I never heard, I don't think any of these filed submitters, maybe the electrical, I know schedule was a little bit, but they eventually stepped it up, but
Yeah. Even for the subcommittee, it would be hard for us to evaluate a subcontractor. We just weren't on the job.
I know.
Right.
And I was there every week, and I couldn't tell you, how Silktown Roofing performed on a daily basis.
Right.
I could see the end product, but
yep.
so I'm going to recommend we concur with the OPM's recommendation on these subcontractors. But
The only thing I can see is like different companies that were working on it. The ones that were building it, and I'm thinking of the pipe that wasn't the right control, for the heat, or the the wash bay, or the hose that was on the wrong side of the steps. You would think that a person who's been doing this right along would turn around and see this is what it says to do and say, no, this is not right. And then go to somebody and say, look this isn't right. Right? You would think that they would they've had the knowledge to be able to do it. That's why, like, I wanted the DPW employees to go through it because they work with it every day. But the builders, I mean, and the plumbers and stuff, they do it every day. They're working on a project, and to see something that doesn't look right and not say anything, you just do it. That doesn't seem right to me. You know?
But they are working to a spec, you know? I mean,
Right.
Following.
Yeah.
That they have a drawing, they have a spec, they have an
Right.
engineer, you know, do this, this, and this. And you know, sometimes you don't know the end result either. I'm not sure why he has me running this pipe over here or this size pipe. Maybe there's something else. So, you know, it's a challenge.
Yeah, but there were some simple things that seemed ridiculous.
I think a lot of that stuff shows up in hindsight.
Oh, yeah, obviously, yeah. A lot of it, yeah. And the operations, you know, they design it one way and we may operate a different way. Well, you know, we'll deal with that. So is that just...
look at the general contractors?
Yeah, I think if there's nothing particular, I had nothing. I'm fine with Scott's numbers on all the subs and the filed sub bidders. I think obviously the GC we all had more interaction with, certainly on a regular basis, weekly basis, job meetings. I think that's the one that you know, the committee can give some feedback on. So I think we can just, you know, I don't know if it makes sense. We'll just go kind of section by section, or
Yeah.
we want to.
Okay, I got another question for our PM. On a building this size, what is the average amount of, in other buildings or whatever, of things that need to be corrected, punch lists? I mean, we had, what did we have, 25, 26 punch on the punch list? Is
Yeah.
that average?
Honestly, I think it was. It goes up and down. I mean, for this type of building, they're not that complicated. They usually. I mean, the mechanical stuff, some of the like the underfloor radiant heating, like some of the systems are complicated. But I mean, you know, the office area, the bathrooms, like the regular punch list stuff. I would say that the amount of items was normal.
Okay.
There wasn't too many. I thought Paige actually did a decent job, like going through them, and they didn't really push back and complain about stuff. Sometimes they'll have meetings and say, no, this, like, you know, this is fine. They just kind of, they pushed the paperwork through the subs, and the subs took care of it. And, you know, closeout wise, I feel like they've been decent.
Okay.
You know,
I think you just want to, if you don't know if you want to pull yours up, we'll go section by section, kind of, you know, there's only, 6 or 7 sections. Shouldn't. So Dave Cook couldn't be here. He did fill one out for me, so I have his.
So do you want to like start on like page 3 of 9 where it goes into
Yeah, the scoring.
scoring?
Yeah. You know, it's pretty, well, it is pretty set, you know, from DCAM. There's not a lot of wiggle room. You know, the categories they give you are what they are, and, you know, the scores are, you know, or potential scores. They don't allow you to go between, right? You got what you got the numbers out of there.
Yeah. It's really strange the way the numbers are set up.
yeah. I thought it not that it matters, but it is interesting that, and I was going to bring it up just to show you, but out of, I want to say 16 or so, like different evaluations that Page has, they've got a 98
Really?
rating.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, I've heard good things about him.
Yeah.
I mean, I
There's nothing in here about like personalities.
all right. So the first section's quality control submittals.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna read through all that. Scott, you got what?
I gave them a 16 average rating.
Is this what you're working on?
You know, I thought that they were.
To be honest, I went higher. I went 18.
Yeah.
I went through the submittals. I mean, there was over 330 submittals, and only 50 of them had to be resubmitted with a Rev 1, less than 10.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of go to a Rev 2, so I look at that as those they're submitting what's supposed to be quality submittals. I didn't know of any rework, at least that came to this. I'm sure there was maybe some small stuff, but
Well, the window in the front was a pretty big rework. Do you recall?
oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Yep.
If I was going to give them a below average rating, that would be part of the comment. But I stuck with the 16 on that particular category as well.
The one thing about this scoring matrix is you can't give them you can't split the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you can take an aggregate total
Yeah.
to maybe
Yeah.
see if some.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm looking at. Looking, Dave had a 16. I forgot about that. Was a big oops.
That was a big.
I mean,
and the way they handled it was not really all that good either. To be perfectly honest.
Right. We didn't know about it. It was kind of yep.
It was almost shoveled on the
Yep.
table.
So I would.
to me, average
block
is
by a law.
it's fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. They did what they were supposed to do, and
Give them a,
In the end,
18 too.
I think
Yeah,
16
fine
would.
with it.
So, how many people have scores? Do you know?
just anyone else have scores? Did anyone else score this?
Okay, so we're going by 3 scores. So the aggregate total of 3 scores is that
I mean, I have Dave's here, so Dave Cook 4.
okay?
So, and he was a 16, so 16 sounds like the number.
16 because we can give them 16.5. Okay.
And what's the take to pass?
80.
Like 16.
Well, that's average.
Yeah.
It's a weird system.
It's really weird.
It's really weird, and but it does mean a lot, I guess, coming from my side and dealing with it as a contractor. It does mean a lot, even as much as it goes from 80 to what the next one's 91, I think. That's where it gets weird. Like you can't give them anything in between. Like, I guess you could. If you did all above average, it'd be 91. But
Well, I guess it's a tough score because they ended up with a 76, which is a failing score. But
you got to be really, 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 really bad to be a 76 contractor in DCAM size.
Yeah.
Like, just
But the scoring, like I said, I mean, if you go average and you just throw a couple below averages in there, you end up failing.
Yeah.
right.
You know,
And that's a fault of the system, I think. The way the DCAM puts it together.
But
Yeah.
again, that's why we're doing this as an aggregate total, I think.
Yep.
So, but I think it's important because the form does require you to make a comment when you have a below average score, that if there's the general consensus that any of these categories are below average, I think I mentioned this in an email, that you could take all of the comments and include them in that section. If in fact that group and the aggregate total ended up below average. So,
So next one is project management scheduling. Talks about project startup. Startup plan. Did it start as scheduled? Work hours, logistics plans. I think Scott, you had an average. You had an 8.
Yeah, I gave him an average because I feel like there was, as we saw with the schedule, there was some good periods and there were some periods that were, we thought maybe it could be a little better, right? So,
absolutely.
but I mean, yeah. So, and some of this talks about, just communication with work hours, site logistics. Butters, trash removal, things like that. So,
We had to ask for like 1 week look aheads quite a lot as well. You know what I mean? That's something that we're in total control of as far as crew size and schedule. I mean, working and putting things concurrently instead of,
yeah,
one after another. I mean, they could have done better on this, but I ended up going average too.
yeah.
I gave him a 10.
Yeah.
Well, again, this is just project startup. So section 3 is the schedule. So look ahead schedule, not staying on schedule, updating the schedule. That's the next section.
Okay.
I mean, honest, and my biggest factor in this is we didn't start the project for almost 9 months after the bid.
Yeah.
And yeah, there were some, extended overhead due to, not even due to that. There were no costs for that 9-month delay.
Yeah.
That's substantial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every one of their subs and their vendors, I can guarantee, had increases that they did not come down to us. So, as far as they start on time, yeah, they waited 9 months for us to start.
Right.
Trash and, I think they work very well with Bruce and Dave. You're the only abutters. You know what I mean? I think you guys had a good communication as far as operationally. So I looked at it a little differently and just looked at the startup and some of the things that they did. I don't know about work hours. Obviously, I wasn't involved at that level. Trash debris removal, the site always looked pretty good. It was clean. So I would say on the next section schedule, I have some of the same concerns with obviously they were
I think
behind.
you make a good argument about this, so what are we gonna do with it? We're gonna agree with Scott, or I think you make a valid point.
I would say like I said, mine's 10. I mean, we can go 9 and split the difference. You get a couple 8s,
Oh, you
Dave.
gave him a 10.
I give him a 10.
Oh, geez, yeah. So I'd be willing to move to 9, but I certainly wouldn't move to 10.
Okay. I hold that 9 month as very valuable to the town. That could have really,
I
really
think a 9 is.
messed things up. So you want to go 9?
8 to the 10 does come out to the 9.
Okay.
It's tough with aggregate 3 totals.
Dave had an 8. So
Oh, Dave had an 8.
Dave had an 8. So I guess the average would be 9. 38 divided by 4. Round up. Okay.
I'll go with the 9.
So next
You're doing
one,
your scores now. Okay.
schedule.
Well, I like hearing the argument.
This was homework, Dennis.
Well, I would agree with Dennis. I kind of have an opinion too, and I'm listening. And I looked at him earlier today. I'm looking at him now, and being someone who never worked with a general contractor. Frankly, I've never worked with a general contractor.
Commercial.
Yeah. So to rate them, you're rating them against other projects. Now you have the ability to do that.
Right.
And Dave Cook certainly has the ability, and Kevin has the ability to rate them against other and Scott certainly, but I don't.
Yeah.
So compared to what?
Yeah.
I think that 9 months matters.
That was,
The delay at the start.
yeah. And then they hung on and
Right.
like
I mean, how would they have done if they got to start on time?
Yeah.
well, I mean, the overall project, they were still a couple months behind. Whether they still would have been, I don't know. But I just look at them waiting,
It's hard to.
because they couldn't sign up their subs. They didn't have
It's hard to plan.
they had a contract, but they didn't have an NTP. I know, I wouldn't take that risk. Maybe they did. I don't know. But I work with a lot of the same file submitters that they work with, and I know some of them will be, the crafts get a raise every 6 months. So, and at 8-9 month delay, there's at least one labor increase.
That whole special legislation thing was torture. Absolute torture.
It was.
It was.
For us and for them.
And for them, yeah. We have a project, but we don't know when we're going to start. And a significant project.
I agree but it certainly made a difference for the town.
Yeah.
Being able to use up the money and
Right.
save it, and
Yes. So,
Great.
so the next section, so we'll do a 9 for that, for section 2. So scheduling, Rick, to your earlier, I had them as a 7, for a lot of the same, they did struggle with the schedule. Their updates, I don't think were very accurate. I know you guys struggled with some kind of short-term scheduling. They did get it in gear at some point, and there was a lot of stuff going on, but in the beginnings, I think there was some challenges. They did accelerate at one point, and they were working Saturdays, and but I would point
It was
to
kind of lackluster, really.
I would point to the schedule updates. I've looked at them, and You know, even today I was going in to try to, because I didn't remember the actual date we started, you know, that they were on site, and I still couldn't find that in any of their schedule updates. So,
And then in the comments for me, I did write, the project schedule was affected by 2 unforeseen events. Underground storage tanks. The contractor's scheduled recovery plan should have made provisions for concurrent task completion. That wasn't done. They could have recovered with concurrent task completion, but they really didn't. So the presence of these tasks was unforeseen, but the contractor's lack of preparedness and initial remediation compounded the effect. So if I was going, and I did give them a below average score, so that's why I have those comments in there. So I don't know if you want to incorporate them into the.
That makes sense.
I mean, for me, that was a big thing, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't be overlooked. And I remember we talked about it, that the contractor's unwillingness to accept any of the financial burden also weighed heavy into my decision on moving that to a 7. You know, but this is more on scheduling, I think. But it was discussed at the time that, you know, all right, well, it looks like they're not going to pay. Remember how tied up we were with that PCO for a long, long time? And, you know, the end discussion was more or less like, well, yeah, well, I guess we got to pay it, but, you know, they're probably going to suffer in their evaluation because of it, you know, because they did not, you know, accept responsibility for it.
I think some of the challenges, as you know, on a committee, you know, and I wasn't even in the weekly job meetings, you know, the schedules provided didn't really help with how the progress of the project was going, you know, and I think that's important.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look at the difference. 7 and an 8. There's only 1 point, you know.
Right, it's certainly not unacceptable. I mean, they still did.
Right.
They did schedule updates, and like I said, and they did accelerate. I mean, at one point they were working Saturdays, they were working extra hours. You know what I mean? And they did those things on their
I mean,
own.
I'd be hard pressed to go to a 6, let alone go to the next level as 0.
Yeah, that's someone that it's 2 to 3 years. You know, a project that was just a total mess.
I think the scale could still be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey,
Really good.
4 being excellent. Yeah.
So anyways,
so next section, staff performance. How well did the project management team perform throughout the project? Talks about competency, proficiency. Talks about workforce goals, but we didn't have any of that. You know, talks a little bit about how did they coordinate the subs. How did they coordinate with all the different trades? How did they address and resolve problems? Let's see here. I had a 14. Dave had a 12. Scott, I think you had a 14.
Yep.
and I had 12.
So we got
That's 13. There's no 13.
2 and 2. Again, you guys dealt with them much more on a basis, but again, I look at, you know, the site always was good. Things seemed to move pretty quickly once they came out of the ground. I think, you know, a couple little things here and there, but I think overall, it you know, once they got the steel up and kind of some masonry and stuff going, it went pretty well. You know, and that's all file subbidders that they inherit. So I think they did a good job
They probably had
coordinating all that.
headaches to deal with the schedule delay and stuff, you know, the initial schedule and trying to keep everybody in line and stuff. So that's sort of how I ended up with a 14 there. Excellent for it.
So I guess we leave it in the middle for now and then revisit it. I don't know, right? Unless you guys want to chime in. 'Cause
Oh, this
right now
one,
you got 212s and 214s.
yeah, this one here, how well did the contractor identify and address personal issues? I'm not aware of any of that happening.
You want to give
Were there any personal issues, that needed addressing by the contractor?
No.
Not that we're aware of.
Personnel issues, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's a contract identifying and addressed.
I mean, without,
Yeah.
again,
identifying.
having something to compare it to, working with other general contractors on other $19 million projects, I thought Peter, and he was the management on site, was pretty good. He was in our office most of the times daily communicating what was going on, and then we had our Wednesday meetings, so. I mean, Dave, you were,
No, I'd agree,
I thought Peter was like kind of, like 12, but I think this is more than Pete.
Yeah.
This is like.
I feel pretty strong with the 14. I think they did they did a good job. That it went smooth. I was just doing math. We're $100,000 over on a $19 million project, which is like less than 0.5%.
Well, you talk about metrics too on projects, and usually change orders are the big score,
Yeah.
But they hit a pretty good wall when they started presenting change orders. As far as the building committee and the subcommittee.
There's going to be changes. There's going to be things, but that also shows me that the little stuff they either handled it, or they told their sub or whoever that no, that's not a change, and then didn't just pass it through. When you're less than 0.5% on a major public project, that's
Yeah. So I'm all right. If the group is going along with the 14, I'm fine with that.
how well the contractor handled project closeout.
Comparatively to other recent projects, I'd give them a 9 and a 10. Honestly, they've been pretty good. They've been, anything that's come up, they've been pretty quick, like right on it. If anything, it's probably just didn't get to me and didn't get to them, or I didn't get it to them quick enough or something. But I thought they've been pretty good. And from checking with HKA, the last thing that big thing that they were just kind of looking for was a as-built on the architectural, which is like basically not much, not much there. Everything's built to the plan. So I think HKA was gonna turn that over.
So you have a 9.
Yeah.
What are the other scores?
I had a 9. Dave had a 9.
I had a 7. But it really isn't any reason to discuss comments because we're not going to go for a below average score. So,
Yeah, I think they've been kind of what Scott said. They've been very receptive on even the little things that come up. The a couple warranty things, so right on it. And,
I think the asphalt one was a negative. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But it's not enough to push the needle too far. To me, it was enough to push the needle beyond an average. I really didn't think they did a very good job with the punch list either, to tell you the truth.
Did or didn't?
Did not. I have not really seen a substantial punch list follow-on of any kind, really. We've seen draft punch lists, we've seen reports of deficiencies, but we really haven't had a comprehensive punch list that said, these are the items you're gonna fix, and here are all of the resolutions. Are we there?
Well,
I don't think so.
that's on HKA. Contractor doesn't make the punch list. The engineer does.
All those.
And then he's given the list and says he's done. So
All those lists were on bid docs, and they went to I mean, Page does a pre-punch. They do their own, internal punch list. And then Mike comes out and/or Greg and does the preliminary punch list. And then there's usually 1 or 2 rounds of back punches.
And then we did the
We had
walkthrough,
those,
which
and then-
added a few things.
And we had to push HKA on the civil punch list to get Peter up
Yeah,
there to-
yeah, that was.
but that's not really. I
You
mean,
kind of dragged.
when they got that list, that they had their guys out there working on it pretty much right away. So
So where are you with that number?
I had a 9.
I had a 9. Dave had a 9.
Okay. 9 it is.
Safety, housekeeping, contract to maintain job site safety, housekeeping procedures. Talks about, materials, designated locations, trash, debris removal, workplace safety, OSHA. Scott, I think you had an 8. I had a 9. Dave had a 9. I don't think we had any. I don't even remember even hearing about. Sure, there might have been a cut finger or something, but I don't even remember hearing about any type of.
We had some issues with hard hats and stuff early on, and high vis and stuff like that. That's a little bit
Okay.
more
Yeah.
of like a. I mean, we brought it up. It's kind of a. Paige should have been probably a little bit more better with that type of stuff.
Okay.
And but I wouldn't. I mean, I could get to a 9 easily. I don't. You know what I mean? I don't think to me it's not a big deal to between an 8 and a 9 for that particular item. Like you said, there was no safety. Nobody got hurt. I mean,
I think-
there was the issue with the oil. The oil tank. You consider that kind of a little bit potentially mismanaged a bit. They should have maybe let hang on.
Yeah,
You know?
I wish there was like a subcontractor section.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like. I think
Ready to blame you,
you're right. Now you're only as good as the subs that you hire, and I work for GC, so
Page.
yeah, we're evaluating Page.
But they mean Page,
You know.
Pompeo, really.
So
In this respect.
Well, Pompio's their sub.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, they hired him. You know what I mean? Again, you're only as good as the subs you hire, and then I don't know.
and I'm not sure about this. So if we're evaluating Page and it's Page's responsibility to make sure that their subs are doing things safely and correctly, then this is something that I feel comfortable weighing in on because we saw it every day outside, especially. And I thought that some of the stuff Pompeo did on a daily basis, and Dave and I would be watching out there like no vests, no hard hats,
I know.
Sandals.
There were times. Where
Okay, yeah. I mean, again,
I'm just gonna bring that up.
I was the only one in the hard hat and vest on many occasions.
Always, probably on, and just things like, things left out at the end of the day, like Pompeo would turn into a pumpkin at 3 p.m.
Right.
and they would just leave stuff everywhere. Like there was no wrapping up the site for the end of the day, like starting at 2:30 and wrapping up the site. There was just like clock ringed at 3 and they're pinched. Gone, and and then I look at other job sites, even like the middle school job site, and I see like the fencing and the safety signs and all the stuff going on up there.
More awareness.
It's totally different.
okay. So what are the other? Scott, you had an 8. Dave and I had 9s. I mean,
I had an 8.
you had an 8. I'm fine with an 8. Sounds like again, you guys
Yeah.
saw him every day.
I can't give them anything above average.
Okay. Next one. Modification change orders. How effective was the contract responding to implementing changes? Scott was a 14. Dave was a 12. I went back and forth. I'll be honest. I had a 10. I gave him a 12. I don't want this score to be less than an 80. I think they don't deserve less than that. And that's where the
Is this a hinge? If they go to a 10 on number 7, I think they get below an average.
it could, yeah. And that's kind of like, you know what I mean? They're not, and again, they're not that type of contractor. I wish I could, bump up a couple other ones and because I think we did get a good general contractor. I know we got a good general contractor.
Well, this is really where they would pay the price for the tanks and not accepting any responsibility for their own lack of preparedness.
Yeah.
The Pompio's improper handling, initial remediation, and then the fact that the contractor refused to even negotiate the cost of the incident. So to me, that's why I put them at a 10. That's where they fell off the cliff for me for this particular category. Because the fourth bullet point there, it says, was the contractor reasonable with the owner's review and negotiation? And in this respect, they were absolutely not reasonable at all. They refused to negotiate any terms that to accept any responsibility for those incidents. So,
On the tank. Yeah.
right.
I mean, we had 25 change orders, maybe something like that. 20. Again, I just kind of look quick at the data. I mean, in bid docs, most of them were settled in a few weeks, but I know when I think there was conversations before it was submitted. I looked at it, I know there was, hey, we haven't got that price yet, we haven't got that price yet. And I look at those things, and that's where I would grade them down on. Like, we need to know, the town needs to know, hey, there's a legitimate chain, it's got merit, get us the price so we know where our budgets are. That's where I graded this down. The tank, I wasn't part of the negotiations. I still don't, it was an unforeseen condition. Pompeo didn't handle it right, but I'm going to go on what our consultant said, and it didn't make it any worse. But I think Paige, unfortunately, is taking some shrapnel from this site contractor, because I wasn't thrilled with this site contractor either. I think we, 10 or 12, and we see where we end up. Like I said, I don't think they're a below average contractor. So I had them at a 10, but I bumped it.
I don't know, do we have the numbers to go for a 10? Do we need to have,
63 right
what? 63?
now. And if you add up all the scores.
Oh, yeah, we got one more go. Got one more copy.
Oh, that's not including this last page, page 6.
So where are we at now?
So
So
just for that one, what do you have for total scores?
So you said it was 63, Dennis?
It's 63, not.
No, I mean for category number 7. I have a 10. What does everybody else have?
I had a 12, Dave had a 12, and Scott had a 14.
So there's no reason to put comments because we're at least a 12.
Yeah. All right, so 12, that's still 75, so we'll get them over.
You could afford it, but you'd have to come up with comments.
It's right on the borderline though, really. I mean, like with the scope of all the change orders, do they want to be punished for that?
Right, again, you try to,
Yeah.
and I think most of them were pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I just think the timeliness of them, and again, hey, they're the GC. It was mostly probably all subs that were submitting it to them, but as a town and a committee, those are the important things to us, is the budgets and where the change orders and where we're trending and things like that. That's how I look at it. So
How do you think Paige is going to rate the town? Can you do this?
luckily, we don't have to build another DPW.
That'd be funny.
Last section, how they proficient document control process, monthly recs, payment concerns from subcontractors, certified payrolls. Scott and Dave had 9. I was going back and forth between an 8 and a 9. I had an 8. I could go up to a 9 because I originally, the whole thing with the steel, but then I kind of thought about it and I said, well, they paid their sub. Their sub didn't pay the people, so that's not their fault. I'm going to assume certified payrolls are up to date. I'd hear that occasionally on, updates and, that they stayed up on that, which is not an easy task. It's a mundane task, but it's not an easy task. Trust me.
Well, for me, I gave them an 8, but the big one for me is the requisitions. in my mind, we've modified the requisitions quite a lot on a regular basis. They were building for things that weren't done, and some of them were a little bit blatant. So, but I still gave them an 8 for that category. What do you have for scores?
3 9s. Scott, myself, and Scott and Dave had 9s. I had an 8. I could have been convinced for a 9. So if we do an 8 there, what's our total?
83.
83.
Brings it to what?
83.
And what is the average score?
Average. It's average.
Failing is 80.
Right. It's.
Failing
But that's
is-
average. But that's average. Like in DCAMs, that's what's kind of messed up with this whole system.
So
So you give, you say, and it's the whole argument of
Kind of why.
if a contractor comes out, does everything they're supposed to do, you have no major issues. Is that average? They did everything they're supposed to, or is that above average? Like you came into work every day and you do your job. Okay. Am I an average employee or it's a difficult.
But back to Bruce's statement about comparison, right? I've been in this business for quite a long time. I've been on hundreds and hundreds of job sites, and I could compare this contractor to other contractors. They're not above average in my mind, from what I've dealt with respect to safety and performance and scheduling and commitment to productivity and quality work. There's a big delta there in my mind. So,
Would you say they're a lot worse?
yes,
Private or public?
all public.
Public.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been.
So you would not want to see them again on a town project?
Well, I wouldn't want to see him in Whitman, but I wouldn't want to have Bard either.
It's a weird scale,
Yeah, because if
Like
you
average.
average on every aspect,
You get
puts
80.
you at 80,
Right.
and so 1 point below that, and it's a failure. You
Right,
would think
that's
the
what I'm
average
saying,
would
like-
be
Right.
Right. You would think average would be more than that.
10
Yeah.
points above failing
Yeah.
anyway. You know?
They built a building, they minor change orders, there's always going to be bumps in the road. And we're struggling to get them above an 80.
Yeah. I still think the biggest bump is the oil tank.
Well, that for me was a big.
That was huge.
Right, but
They had to take a ding for that
Right. And
for more than one reason.
right. And the fact that once they hit it, you stop
Right.
and you go to your boss or whatever and you say, look at LPM, what do we do?
Right. And safety, it goes into like comparison of jobs where they have, a comprehensive safety program, weekly toolbox talks. They have, they stand downs. If there's something like this happened on, a Columbia project or a Suffolk project,
Yep.
the job would be shut down.
Yeah.
And they would do a stand down and they would evaluate what went wrong. No, they just kind of like slog through the oil and keep on going.
Right.
So it's like night and day for me. But like I said,
That was
this is a group exercise, so I'm going to defer to the group for the school.
So 83. I mean, Dave was at an 83. I was at an 85. Scott, you were at 86. I think. I don't know if I don't think there's anything we have to go.
I don't know, 83 passes them, but it doesn't,
Right.
wave a flag saying, hey,
I think the way we did this together it made a big difference. Because if we just took the scores, because I was at 76, that made it, dropped them down below.
yeah.
But I think this was a good way to do a comprehensive
Yeah.
evaluation. So what was the total for now?
83.
Looks like an 83.
Now, let's real quick go back up to tree scheduling. Do we, for one of these here, where did we end up on this one?
3 was, we ended up as a 7.
And 4 was a 14?
4 was a 14. Yep.
I'm just wondering if you wanna give them an 8, an average on this.
So you don't have the comments?
And if you want, adjust one of the other ones where you have 1 point difference,
Oh, to
you know?
But you wanna go back to where you listed the, number 3, where you listed.
I mean, it's all justifiable and everything. We went through it. You can put it in. I just, they'll.
I
you're
think
gonna-
Tony would
yeah.
spit himself.
You're gonna hear. We're gonna hear it no matter what. They're gonna be upset about the score. Anything.
Yeah, does that happen? Is there feedback after they see the score?
They can. They could.
They can protest.
They can protest.
the score.
Oh, they can?
Score, yeah.
Yeah. That's why, to Rick's point, I think the way we did it, and it was good that we did it, that, it's a consensus, it's the committee.
Yeah,
Like I said, I think most of us were, 85, 86s and Scott, you were an 86, I was an 85. Dave was an 83. Rick was a 76. So we ended up in the middle. If you want to go 76 to 86, we ended up almost right there.
It's hard. You could actually move that into an 8 and still leave the comments, right, if you wanted.
No.
No.
You probably wouldn't wanna leave the comments if you.
No.
No, because then it's going to lead to,
Valid
Yeah.
points.
no,
I would like to leave it as a 7, but I would like to do a little bit better in making the comments more specific. I don't know. Do we need to make it more specific? Have you seen comments before?
Have I seen?
Well, one of these evaluations that had a below average score. What are the comments? Are they general? Are they specific?
It's
in
been a
nature?
while. We've had far worse contractors that we've dealt with.
well, that's going to be my question. How many DCAMs have you had that are, well, maybe not under 80, but that would, do they balance it to get to a number, or do they, leave their comments?
Yeah. See, the only problem with the way the comments are written right now is it seems like it's lumping the entire performance of the job.
And one section, right, yeah.
You know what I mean? It almost begs to be more specific because the lack of preparedness for unseen issues was related to the oil tank.
Yeah.
And it should be described a little bit more, I think, so that the person reading this doesn't think that everything was unprepared. You know what I mean?
Well, you could put that due to the hit of an oil tank, or the finding of an oil tank that wasn't handled properly or something.
My question is, if you were going to say something about Pompeo and the oil tank, which category should it?
That's what I mean. There isn't. There isn't.
Well, you can't,
It is.
Pompeo oil tank,
They get dinged.
add that as the 4th line.
The GC gets dinged on it because it's their sub and they have to manage the sub. They have an on-site super who's there, supposed to be there and watch everything.
Because that did have a huge effect on the schedule between the environmental.
Right, but I guess I'm gonna argue from the other side. Nobody knew it was there.
Yeah.
So the fact that they had to do remediation, we had to haul soil out, we had oil contaminated soil. That would have happened whether they moved it around, left it in place. All that would have happened, and that was the bigger delay.
Not as bad though, because I think that if they hit it, they would have been able to get a hose in there and pump out whatever was left in the tank.
Well, that's why
But they did do that. They called that company in that day.
I thought they tried to take it out, and the oil just spilled all over the
Right, but the delay, the biggest delay, was the soil.
I know that, but I'm just
We
saying.
had to go pile it over here and test it and sample it and where's it going to go and do all the paperwork, and it held up the paving, and then we finally had to get rid of it.
Right, but maybe
the oil was already there.
but maybe it wouldn't have been as much decontaminated soil if, in fact, when they hit the tank, they pumped it clean, and then took the tank out and not spill it on instead of having this much going into the earth, this much you went in this much and.
But our consultant said that didn't.
that was
the
our-
volume didn't change
Really?
based off of.
our LSP's evaluation of the
I was thinking the same thing, Dan. That the LSP said clearly it had been leaking, and the
And that
amount of
would be-
soil wouldn't have changed. We weren't taking soil. I just want to be. It caused a delay to the schedule. It could have been handled better.
They're gonna argue that it's the town's
Yeah, I
fault that
Page-
they're-
that's what
that
Page
they
is
have
going
that
to
schedule
counter
thing on their
about
thing, because without it, they wouldn't have.
again, my
Had it done.
biggest with the schedule was the updates were not accurate. it took a little bit to get them on board with going to an accelerated schedule, and they did do that. I mean, that's a plus. The oil tank effect of the schedule, I don't think that was Page's fault. I'm looking at the documents that I see in the schedule updates, and I know, and I'd heard it, the 1 week, 2 week,
We ask.
right, those type things, as the owner and sitting on a committee that meets once a month and not day to day with the project,
True.
are what are important. And I think that's where they lacked. Eventually, I guess, there never was a recovery schedule. They started working additional hours, but we still didn't see,
That was-
how that affected things. Did it pull it back? Did it, I'll say, hey, they got a time extension. The project finished on time. No liquidated damages were assessed. We're happy with it. That's where I just felt they could have done better on the schedule side. Just the.
By the way, you can put comments in there for whatever. You could have an excellent, but still put comments in.
Oh, you can.
It's not. It's just that they're required
Right.
if you're below an average score. So
Okay.
you could give them whatever you want and still put comments in.
73, I mean,
Into an 80, which is
passes.
increased the
you know
score
what I
from
mean?
83
They can still
to 84.
bid on jobs.
You're still going to get the same reaction out of the contractor if these comments are left in there. He doesn't care if it's an 8 or 7, as long as the score is over average.
Right.
Yep.
And it is at an 83.
But there should be some kind of a tie-in to the second point, with the lack of a preparedness for unforeseen issues, and how it tied into the schedule, right? Because you're right when you say, is this the best section to put that in? And the change order would be my number 7. We're not going to go back there now, but this isn't really the best place to include
I
how this affected their performance. But I think it should be stated, really. I'm good with leaving the comments in.
Yeah.
Okay.
That it?
I just want to make sure I got this thing right because I highlighted them. So I'll send.
What about
send you a new
what
one.
about legal and administrative proceedings? Do you want to list the outstanding claim for the structural steel here?
That's off the table now.
well, I mean, they technically didn't file against us. They just put us on notice. And Page proved that they had paid their subcontractor. So Page did everything right. They had lien waivers that they supplied that said their subcontractor was signing lien waivers saying they were paying all their suppliers, and clearly they weren't. So again, looking at Page, they're clean.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Okay. But the way it's written, it does say, "Are you aware of any legal or administrative proceedings?" Blah 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 blah. blah.
So just mention that we know that.
With Page. I mean, the steel company was filing against the steel subcontractor. I don't believe they ever filed.
I don't think they're filed
With
anything
Page.
against Page.
Yeah. So involving this contractor is
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I don't think we need to put anything in.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I don't think so either. Like I said, Page provided all the documents they had paid. With a steel.
You have to actually answer, say no, or
So do you want a motion to,
Do you want anything in the additional comments? Did you put anything in the additional comments?
No. Was number 8 an 8 or a 9? Document control. We were right between. I think we were like we were 8.5. I think.
that was an 8.
Yeah, I circled 8, but
Yeah, I think we were
I
going
would
with
say if you're close on either one, I would just give them the benefit of the doubt and go like the extra go to the round up. It's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt us.
Get an
It's-
84.
It's not gonna be less like, you know, chatter.
Yeah.
You
Steve.
wanna set up another Teams meeting? We can get Tony go off on his evaluation. Well, what, we're gonna send a copy of this right to him, right? This has to be provided to the contractor.
Let's see what,
I think you just ask for it,
Yeah, you file it.
send it, we just file it.
Well,
It is
One thing
important.
now, I think because they're all in draft form now, so I think once I hit send, I'm pretty sure they go to you, and then you hit sign. But we're gonna test it.
Hey, you tell me.
Well, Tony can call you.
So it's on page one, it does say a copy, per state law, a copy of the evaluation must be sent to the contractor.
Yeah,
Once it's in final form.
I've always been asked, and I just send them, but I just haven't been.
It's
asked
important.
yet, so-
It means a lot. You know. It's a tough grading system. I wish there were more categories
So
or.
we ended with an 84?
Yeah.
As I say, that's what I want
84.
to know when it comes to me.
Yeah, 84.
Okay. So do you need a motion to that or no?
I don't.
Well, you want a motion to summarize this and then say
Yeah.
that concur with recommendations of the OPM on the other evaluations? I'll make that.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Number
I
8.
got,
do you have anything else on that?
No, I mean, we had OPM market at completion, but I think we're all set with that.
Oh, right.
I would-
I got a question. So, actually, tonight during the meeting, I just got a email from an engineering firm wanting to get a reference for one of the subcontractors that were,
You got it.
Yeah, I got one too earlier today asking about one of the subs.
for the engineering firm for the on behalf of the town of Truro, it's for the glass company.
Yeah, I
Why
got.
are they listing you?
I got one.
I don't know.
Capital F.
Scott,
Yeah.
can you handle the last one?
I don't, well, that's why I'm asking.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Should I forward it to you, or do you want me to?
And maybe through bid docs. I mean, I'd probably
I'd just erase it.
maybe.
no, they're important. It's I get them all the time.
I didn't want to answer. Should I pass it on? You know what I mean? Sort of. I don't know how. Because I like you and Kevin were saying earlier. I mean, we weren't there when them guys did that. I don't.
Do you, Scott? Do you guys do follow up DCAM? You must get emails.
Yeah.
Projects.
Yeah,
I get them all the time.
they list they'll list the awarding authority, they'll list us, they'll list the architect. So they
Especially with
they
what
reach out to everybody to try to get
Why they-
their response.
Well, I
So
think Mary Beth got a request from the electrical contractor, right?
I forwarded that on. Yep.
Right, forwarded to the OPM. I think that's.
Yeah, I think just forward it to the OPM.
That was a
Okay.
month or so ago. Yep.
It's a standard.
I'm pretty sure it might be through.
It's the file sub bid process. They're bidding another project and they have to list their previous
Yeah.
projects, and somehow your name got attached somewhere.
The only other reason would be it's coming from Apex.
Oh, see, I got one for asking about the for Truro about the masonry contract.
Oh, so that has nothing to do with this. That's coming directly. That's environmental partners, right?
Yeah, so they must be working with the town of Truro in.
So environmental partners said, "Oh, they did the Whitman DPW. I know someone at the Whitman DPW. I'm going to send them an
That could
evaluation."
possibly be,
I'm sure.
That's what that is.
but
Yeah.
I want to know the correct way to I pass it forward to you.
Yeah, I guess.
Depending on the platform and stuff, I can either fill it out and send it back to you, and
They asked me the questions right in the email. So
It's the same. It's
same.
3 or 4 questions. How did they perform? Were there
Yeah.
any issues? It's all from DCAM. It's all set. You can't add too much to it. Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Are we gonna do business?
Sure.
So I know one other time we tried to pass the further recommendations for expenditures to the Board of Selectmen, right? So are we at that point again?
Do we need another meeting?
Or,
No, I mean, I don't think that we want to dissolve the committee, according to the
Much
attorney.
as the people want to leave.
Right.
as much as the committee wants to dissolve?
Yeah. The attorney, so what is there that happens in 9 months or a year for a final, a warranty she mentioned?
We'll come do a walkthrough in like month 10 or 11.
So she said, I wouldn't dissolve the committee until after that. Not that we have to meet monthly, certainly we can say right now that if there's, small invoices, whatever, if anything major comes up, yeah, I want to get together and
Yeah.
discuss it. If there's something that comes out of the blue, but otherwise, would it be the Board of Commissioners that would, or the Select Board?
Well, I think if it's an expenditure for the project, it would probably have to be the select board.
Okay.
Obviously, pay estimates.
So the requisition, let's use that for an example. We still have an outstanding rec.
We do.
Well, that was always kind of the subcommittee before. I mean, we, as a committee, did a final, but the subcommittee went through it and reviewed it, and yourself and Scott and Dennis and, at the time, Frank. So
Well, I think we're all in consensus that as long as the bid doc closeout items get finished and there's a positive evaluation for the work on the asphalt, that we would sign the final requisition, right? But
Right.
does the whole committee need to vote on it like we have in the past? Every other requisition is voted on by the full committee.
do we make a vote to
Was it?
say the last pay recs, whatever they are, we go to the subcommittee?
Or you just authorize.
Or just
Mary Beth
authorize
to
me to pay it once.
That's what I-
Authorize, yeah, we could do that, yeah. It's an authorization for you to pay it based off of the subcommittee's
It's
recommendation.
gonna get signed by us,
Right.
Greg, and you anyway.
That's fine.
So,
I'm
so
fine
once
with
the three of us sign off on it, it's more or
Yeah.
less a formality
Yeah.
for the full committee, and now you guys.
Right. And then when the year is up,
Construction.
then we can just dissolve.
Once
You're
you
working
do
on
that final walkthrough, that 10, 11 that we dissolve. But I don't think that we need to meet unless there's a need. I don't think we need to continue monthly
Right.
meetings for sure.
Right, so we'll
Okay, so-
TBD, there's no next meeting, we'll
Right.
TBD that.
So I'll make a motion then for the final requisition authorized payment, assuming that everything is finalized in bid docs and there's a positive evaluation of the work that you did on the asphalt. That Mary Beth could then.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I'm gonna wait to hold the, sorry. Your,
All right, so there's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's it.
Scott, you said one comment?
I'm gonna wait to send the DCAM evaluations till we get the final certificate of completion.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait as long as you can,
Wait till after Christmas.
Yeah.
Don't ruin his Christmas.
especially if we have another team.
Well, once the town pays the final invoice, the contract's up.
Yep.
It's over, so there's nothing.
Wait till you come back.
Wait till it rains.
I'm mad, so I'm gonna
Right.
figure out something
We schedule
for their
a meeting
bill
for a
to
year
send
from
you.
now.
Mary Beth, you got one?
I do. So I was entering in, you saw me over here, invoices, and there's one invoice included in the 8 for Amazon that I'd like to remove. It is invoice ending in KXX1 in the amount of $315.25. That actually was on the last meeting, and I've just sent that up for payment.
Oh,
And
okay.
it wasn't for the whole amount anyway, because Paula had approved part of it for the clock was paid out of the DPW, and we were just gonna pay for the Keurig. So I'm removing from what we just voted, $315.25 from
Yeah.
tonight's meeting.
You need a motion for that?
Yeah,
All motion.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
great. Am I taking you? Right?
No, my wife. Oh, my wife. You're
Keurig.
She's going with you to the park?
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Probably ordered a bunch of stuff on the list.
Yeah, she's at Adrian's.
Someone make a motion. I can't make that.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.